we back. What's up? Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel, and I'm excited to be here with y'all. I'm excited that y'all are here with me. It has been a minute since y'all seen my face on here. I am still a busy mom and still working my schedule, and life is still very much unstructured. But here I am. And I'm here to discuss something that I feel like is personal to me and also personal to a lot of women out there. And it's something that is almost considered taboo to discuss and has been for quite some time. Today we're talking birth control. Okay, so the topic of this discussion is how birth control changed my life for the worse and for the better. Now, when I say and for the better, I just mean the lessons and the strength that I had to grow into and learn in order to be a better woman. But a lot of the things that birth control did change in my life were for the worst. And it sucks to say because I know so many women are on birth control because it can be hard to figure out how I'm going to have this life structure and build my family, but not build too fast, or I want to go to work, I don't want to build a family right now. And so birth control just seems like the smartest alternative. We're going to talk about different forms of birth control and just my story with how birth control changed my life. So let's start with my introduction to birth control. And I'm going to go through this beginning part really fast because I really want to get to the good information. Oh, I was just running. Hold on. Okay. So my introduction to birth control was probably my senior year of high school. I knew what birth control was, but I wasn't sexually active before then, so I didn't there was nothing to really think about. My senior year of high school, I was dating someone, seeing someone, and he told me he did not like condoms, and so he basically insisted that I get on birth control. And I had heard a few things from a few of my friends about how being on birth control, especially at that young age, had affected them from, just weight gain and things like that. And that was really all I heard was oh, don't get, I'm on birth control now. Some of my friends would say, but it's making me gain so much weight. But in my head, I was kind of athletic. So I figured, okay, I'll get on birth control. And if I gain weight, I gain weight. But I'm not going to gain that much weight, whatever. So I got on birth control for this particular person. I remember when I asked my mom to sign the waiver, she told me no. And basically said, the only reason I would let you be on birth control is if you have really heavy periods, really painful periods, and you needed some sort of break from your periods. That is the only way I would sign this. And I wasn't gonna lie, so I was like, okay. And the funny thing about birth controls in the school system is they'll just give it out. They're giving kids birth control like candy because the kids are lying. And I think part of them knows that the kids are lying and just doesn't care. But everybody I knew in high school that was on birth control said that they signed the waiver themselves. They never got a parent to sign it. They put a false signature on the waiver and they turned it in and they got the birth control. And that's exactly what I did. I put a false signature on the waiver. And I turned it in. I think I put I don't even know. I put some signature on there and I gave it to them. And that day they gave me my birth control. So I had the depot shot. And the interesting thing is when I was leaving to go to college, my senior year, they had messed up how many shots they gave me. They mixed it up. They didn't even realize or know how many shots they gave me. And I kept telling the nurse, I was like, no, you gave me, I've only had 2 shots or something like that. Or maybe it was like 1. And she was like, no, you had like 4. And in my head, I'm like, and so the whole birth control in the school system thing is not even handled appropriately or properly in the first place. So I got on the birth control. I did remember having some changes in my mood, but only for a short amount of time, because I was only on the birth control for a short amount of time. Literally, like, this relationship came towards the end of my senior year of high school. I got on the birth control, you know, things happen, and then that was it. Like, and that's why I think I only had 1 shot, because I never even went back, because it was like never going to occur again. Like, that was my mindset. It was like, it's not going to happen again. I don't need another shot, so it doesn't really matter. And I remember while I was weaning, one day, like, just standing up and just randomly bleeding, like blood just dropped right out. And then I wasn't on my period or not, like no other blood or not. Like, I just stood up out of bed one day and like large amounts of blood just like dropped on the ground. I still have a picture of it in my phone to this day. I think I have, if I have it, I will like put it somewhere. And so I remember that happening, and I was like, that was weird. And then that was it. And my cycles, I thought were going back to normal, and I didn't even realize that it takes Depo, like it can take the Depo-Vera shot even like 2 years to leave your system. I had no freaking clue about that. So, because they didn't teach me anything. They don't teach you anything. They're just like, here it is, pill or shot. Okay, this is how you do it. They teach you nothing in high school. So I didn't really know the side effects that well. I didn't know that I would have like weaning, like bleeding while I was weaning. I didn't know like anything. I didn't know it took me 2 years to get off of it. None of that. So I'm living my life. Everything's going fine. I meet my husband in 2020. And by 2021, we were pregnant. Or by like end of 2020, we were pregnant. Something like that. Something like that. We're pregnant and everything's going well. Boom, we have the baby. Hooray. Okay. So, of course, if you have a child, then you know. If you don't have a child, then you might not know. But there is a window, and within that short, very short window, I think it's like a 6-week window, they're like, oh yes, so they tell you, yes, you can have sex again. But then they also say, like, but we can put you on birth control again. And if I would have known the things and watched the videos like this one before that day, I would have never done it. And this is the moment where my life changed for quite some time, and it felt like it was forever. I got the Depo shot because that's what I knew, and at that time I was always also not so great at taking things like a pill you have to take like at a certain time of day. Like, my memory is not that great, I can admit that. And so I was like, you know what, I know the Depo shot, I've done it before, I'm gonna do it again. And for those who don't know, the Depo lasts for about 3 months, I believe. So they put the shot in. 3 months in, I'm fine, but I feel weird. I'm starting to feel kooky. Like, I'm starting to feel a little strange. I get the second shot. So I'm starting to notice that my mood is not what it once was. And I used to be very jovial and open and happy and things of that nature, laughing, very fun person. And I started to become this like stickler. And in my head, I was like, well, I'm a new mom. Maybe I'm just a new mom. And like, that's like my mom's side. I'm just like stricter with everyone now or something like. And then my emotions were funky. So it's like one little thing would just throw me. Done. Day is ruined. I'm like, my emotions were like hair trigger, like that. I didn't know what was going on. So I just I don't know. I just kept getting the birth control. I was like, gonna keep, I didn't actually place it to the birth control quite yet because I didn't realize that it could do this. Eventually, I hit this wall. It's like really, like, I believe we're coming close to like Christmas time, things of that nature, maybe even a little bit before that. I hit this crazy wall where I am like out of control. I'm like spiraling. So at this point, I have mood swings beyond anything I've ever had in my life, to the point where some days I would wake up crying, and then I would come out into the living room, try to be normal, and then end up crying again. Now I go running back to the room because I don't want anybody to see me this way. So I cry in the bed for 2 hours, come back out. But by the time I'm back out and trying to operate in the world, I'm numb to everything. Now I'm numb. So I went from one extreme of just severe crying for 3 to 4 hours to the complete other extreme of being completely numb emotionally. Like, I could look at my husband and my daughter and see nothing, feel nothing, like dead, numb, nothing. And then I went from numb to like angry, like I'm pissed at everybody. But it sucked because it's like I have this adorable little baby that I just had, and I'm mad at her. But I'm like, why am I mad at her? I'm mad at him. So I start detracting from the world. I'm just in a depressive state, months, weeks. And I hit the next wall, which is like mental insanity. So I hit this next wall where I'm hearing things and I'm seeing things. So now I'm seeing vivid images of just the worst things you can think of. Look, it should never be put into words. These things should never be said, which is why I will never say them. But I'm seeing them, like eyes open. Like my eyes are open and I'm seeing all of it, like right there. It's pure hallucination. I'm hearing voices in my head telling me things that I should do and things that I shouldn't do. And what if I just did this? And what if I just did this? And I should do this. But none of the things are good. It's not like, oh, what if I made like a surprise party for... None of these things are good. All of these things, like I said, are the most horrific things you can think of. And there's nothing that is attached to me. Like, it feels so foreign to me. But it's almost like the voice is trying to convince me that it is me. So I'm in this internal battle where, like, sometimes I would stare off in the distance and just cry. And my husband would be so confused. And I'm like, I can't get these things out of my head. Like, it's not me. It's like there's a voice that's not mine. And it's like it's plaguing you. It's taunting you. It's haunting you. So I went from crazy mood swing wall to insanity wall. But then while I'm in all of that, I'm still swinging. Like, my moods are still swinging. So at this point, I'm completely detached from regular real world life. But I still have to do regular real world stuff. Like, my husband's working, so I still have to take care of the baby and everything like that. And I'm trying to keep up with everything, but I'm literally drowning. Like, it feels like the good part of me inside of me wanted to scream, like, for help. It felt like there was like a little demon voice in there, like, just like suffocating me, to the point where it was sometimes I wouldn't even talk all day because I don't want to think. I don't want to talk because I don't want to think. I don't want to say things because the thoughts don't feel like mine. And I know what you're thinking. Like, all this for some birth control, right? And I wholeheartedly believe that I could have been experiencing postpartum depression at the same time. But I also am a firm believer that some women that are experiencing postpartum depression, it is triggered by them being placed back on synthetic hormones, aka contraception, like the pill and things like that. So this is the point where I start researching because I literally can't take it anymore. I'm literally thinking about ending it. And when I say ending it, I mean I'm ending it. One day I looked in the mirror, I had to tell myself, like, if I don't fix this, that baby is not gonna have a mom. that baby is not going to have a mom, and that's the last thing that I want. And something made me really have to reach as deep down inside myself as I possibly could to figure out a way to fix this, because it was out of control. It was out of control. And it was tough on my husband too. And I had to realize that, like, I'm making life for him hard. And as much as he is trying to give me this grace and say, like, I understand what you're going through, and I'm sorry that you're going through this, and I'm gonna be right here behind you to support you, I know that deep down inside, I'm hurting his feelings with some of the things that I'm saying. I'm confusing him because my energy is so erratic. Like, I can tell I'm putting him through the ringer, and I can start to see it on him. I started doing research to try to better understand what it is that could be happening to me. And I saw a couple things about postpartum depression and things of that nature, because of course that's a very liable thing that could be happening. And at this point I'm still on depot, and so I'm doing more research, and I come across something called PMDD. And as I'm reading about it, it is literally exactly what I'm going through to the T. So PMDD is basically a severe form of PMS. So severe that it can even cause suicidal thoughts or suicide itself. And it is that. It is the voices in your head. It is the mood swings. It is the face swelling. It is the feeling like you're not yourself, or like you're not in your own body. It is the disassociation with your loved ones. It is the numbness, not feeling anything or feeling everything. It is the long periods of crying, needing to sit in the dark room, sensitivity, sound sensitivity. I can't even tell you, like, when the TV would be on, I would almost lose my I'm out. I would just leave. I would just go to the room because it was too much. So it's the sound sensitivity. It is all of that. But what makes it more PMDD, because that's very similar to postpartum depression, but what makes it PMDD is that a lot of the times it can start up to 14 days before your period. So it's almost like, because some people have PMS, but they have PMS maybe 7 days before your period. So it's like you tack a 7 on and then you make it worse. So it can start up to 14 days before your period. At my worst, it was starting probably 18 days before my period, which is crazy if you think about it, because your cycle itself is usually about 28 days. Mine is usually a little longer. It can, like, my cycle can be maybe like 35 days, but I'm still trying to get it, every person is different though. But if you think about it, that is the majority of a month. So if I'm having PMDD 18 days out, the whole month is bad. None of the month is good. The closer you get to your cycle, the worse the PMDD gets. So the first of the 18 days, you might feel the mood swings. The second day, it could get worse. By the time your cycle is about to break, or your period is about to break, or your cycle, and you're gonna start the next cycle, you could be hearing voices. You could be shut in your room all day, crying. You could be super light sensitive. You can't even come out the room. You could be, it's all, for me, it was all of that. It was all of that. I was trying to be shut in the room all day. I was crying consistently. I heard voices. I saw hallucinations. Like, literally, I would know, like, those last 3 or 4 days right before my period started was just hallucinations, crying, anxiety, severe anxiety, like everything you can think of that would encompass it was happening about 3 or 4 days out. And this would happen consistently. before each period. That is what kind of put it in the box for me, because at first I was like, okay, it could be postpartum depression. And then when I started seeing that time frame, like during my period, I would be pretty much fine. Like I was still, granted, I was still a little messed up mentally because of so much trauma from that first 18 days, but I was more so myself during my period and just kind of down, but not really out. And even for a couple days after the period. But then once that 18-day, like clockwork, boom, I'm gone. I'm just a different person now. And so then I was like, okay, I have PMDD. Okay, gotta address this. Here's the thing. Sometimes you can go to the doctor and you'll tell them what's happening and they'll tell you you have postpartum depression. They won't even consider PMDD an option. And sometimes it can be more so male doctors, but sometimes it's all OBGYNs across the board. Some OBGYNs recognize it more than others, and some just don't even recognize it at all. So this is the tip, is that if you feel like you're going through this, make sure you tell your doctor, I've researched it, and I believe that this is what I'm experiencing. And so I knew I had to go in there and say that, because if I didn't, I might not be appropriately believed and diagnosed. I went in there and I told him, my husband was sitting right there, and he explained a lot of the things that he saw from the outside perspective, because like I said, I'm out of it. And luckily I was on my period for this doctor's visit, so I was kind of myself. But I told him, I believe I have PMDD. And I explained exactly what I was going through. I said about 18, 17 days from my period, I start experiencing these symptoms. The closer I get to it, like literally, it ran it completely down. By the end of the appointment, he said, you know what? It sounds like that is what's happening. And it sounds like that is what you're experiencing. Granted, he never sent any labs or requested any labs, but he did verbally confirm, like, you know what? Yeah, I think that is what's happening. And so then he discussed, let's try the pill. And he was like, maybe your body is just reacting adversely to the progesterone, because Depo has a high level of progesterone. So I said, you know what? All right, I will try it, and I will see. So he gave me a sample pack of this birth control right here. So this is called, I've never been able to pronounce this. Balcoltra. Okay, anyway. And this is, I've kept this for sentimental reasons, because this is, and people who see my Instagram know that I posted a picture of this. This is the last pack that I ever took, because this is when I had enough of the shenanigans. So he assured me, and he said, you know, if this doesn't work, we'll try something else. Just come back, we'll try a different pill, is what he told me. And so this is more so like when you hear about like half and half pills, or pills that are more that have like a bit more estrogen, or that are more balanced between estrogen and progesterone. This is one of these. He was like, just give it like 2 months and see how your body reacts. 2 or 3 months. So he gave me a couple sample packs. Y'all, the only thing that changed when I took these is that instead of the PMDD starting in 18 days, it started 14 days out from my period. It shortened the window, but it was bad. Within that less amount of time, it was almost worse. And the crazy part is like I said, Depo doesn't really come out of your system for 2 years. So now I have the Depo lingering in my system, and then they're throwing this in there. They're throwing this in there now. Everything that I described to you the first time around, worse. Did y'all ever see that meme that's been floating around? That meme sound where it's like, Oh yeah, it got worse, but I have a feeling it's about to get worser. Okay, yeah, it got worser when this happened. Words can't even describe the amount of like pain and stress. But when I started taking this, oh, I was gone. I wasn't even myself anymore. I mean, even the time where I was having my quote unquote periods, I was not even myself. I was completely disassociated with myself. Above all, I was still a mom and a wife. I had roles to play and I played them. But this is one thing I wish I would have never done. I try not to like get emotional, but started taking those. I took about 2 packs and I realized I cannot do this anymore. I cannot put my body through this anymore. This is not working. I ended up joining a couple of things. I'll leave links in the descriptions. I ended up joining about 2 or 3 Facebook groups for PMDD, and they do have them online. And they also have Facebook groups for spouses of people who are experiencing PMDD, which is good because as a spouse, it's so hard to understand or grasp the concept. And even these PMDD Facebook groups allow spouses, so therefore some of them are for the people experiencing PMDD, as well as the spouses of people who are experiencing, so that they can get a better understanding and realize that like your person is not just doing this just to do this, and they're not trying to hurt you or harm you. They just can't figure out what the freak is wrong with them. And I ended up getting on this website. I believe it's called Stuff That Works. And there is a whole PMDD thread of people who are also experiencing PMDD and explaining their experience and explaining things that they've tried, if it works, how long they've had PMDD, things of that nature. And when I was scrolling through, the main thing I kept seeing in some of these groups was that these doctors were prescribing more birth control, different kinds of birth control. And for some women, it was kind of working, but not fully working. And for other women, it was making it 1,000 times worse, which is what happened with me. And for others, it was just like nothing changed at all. And that was when they were being prescribed more birth control, different types of pills, the mini pill, this pill, that pill. And, you know, women are just constantly asking, does your doctor prescribe this pill? How is this pill working for you? I just need to know because this current pill I'm on is not working great, but then he switched me to this pill. And we're popping these pills, y'all. Okay, we're popping these pills. And a lot of us have had Depo before. So we're popping different pills like this. Ooh. We're throwing them back and we're trying these new ones. Those ones aren't working, so we try the next pack, and not realizing what we are even doing to ourselves, but then also realizing that we've been lied to from the start of it. And there has been big, huge cover-up stories about the side effects of birth control and the way birth control changes women's bodies, women's hormones. There's these women that are crying out because they are so angry that they have just been lied to about some of the things that have been going on in these pills. And as I'm doing more and more research, I'm just like, the rabbit hole is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We're talking videos of women who have experienced blood clots due to birth control, due to hormonal contraception. Literally deathbed stories of women who have had these blood clots. We're talking about the effects of some of the chemicals and progesterone and estrogen that come out when we pee because of these pills. And they go into some of the water systems. And now they're changing the way that that the fish are mating. And now a lot of fish are having, male fish have female parts because of all the chemicals that we pee out from this. Something about it is heartbreaking to see so many women going through this and see so many people going through this. But something about it is also heartwarming because you realize that you're not alone and you realize that you're not crazy. And even if you have any of these apps like Flow that have community channels, you can even go in there and type in PMDD and you can see people talking about how this has affected them. And that's what blows my mind about how it's still so taboo to be discussed and talked about when it's affecting so many of us. There's some women that can take hormonal contraceptions and be fine. In their eyes, they're fine. Nothing happens. But there's other women, and the majority of women actually have issues from it. They end up developing even like cysts, fibroids, all kinds of different things. And this is not just from the pill and not just from Depo, but it can also be from any kind of hormonal contraception. Like we're talking, it can be from IUDs, NuvaRings, you name it. I still have a whole unused box. Okay, this is in here. I was like, oh, I'm not taking this. But I'm sick of them just feeding us these pills like candy and then not explaining anything to us, but then saying like, oh, well, it's in the box. Yes, it's in the box. Women, we need to start using a little bit more discernment about how and what we put in our bodies. So with that being said, I'm not going to lie to you, okay? The doctors might lie to you. The schools might lie to you. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to keep it real. So straight out the box, I'm going to read some of these side effects to y'all. Okay. What are the possible side effects? Like pregnancy, Balcultra may cause serious side effects, including blood clots in your lungs, heart attack, or stroke that may lead to death. Some other examples of serious blood clots include blood clots in the legs or eyes. Call your healthcare provider or go to the hospital or emergency room right away if you have leg pain, sudden chest pain, weakness, numbness in your arms and legs, like blood clot stuff. Other serious side effects include liver problems, including rare liver tumors and jaundice, high blood pressure. You should see your healthcare provider to check your blood pressure regularly. Gallbladder problems. I had my gallbladder removed, by the way. Changes in sugar and fat levels in your blood. New or worsening headaches, including migraine headaches, depression, possible cancer in your breasts and cervix, swelling of your skin, especially around your mouth, eyes, and throat. Have that. Dark patches of skin around your forehead, nose, cheeks, arms, and your mouth, especially during pregnancy. What are the most common side effects of Balcultra? I think I'm reading it right. The most common side effects include headache, including migraines, absolutely, irregular vaginal bleeding, 100%, nausea, breast tenderness, pain and discomfort, stomach pain, pain with your period, mood changes, including depression, acne, and vaginal infections. These are not all the possible side effects of Balcultra. Call your doctor for medical advice about side effects. You may report side effects to the FDA. At the bottom it says, do birth control pills cause cancer? Birth control pills do not seem to cause breast cancer. However, if you have breast cancer now or have had it in the past, do not use birth control pills because some breast cancers are sensitive to hormones. Okay? Women who use birth control pills may have a slightly higher chance of getting cervical cancer. However, this may be due to other reasons such as having more sexual partners. And then they say, it says, what should I know about my period when taking this drug? Some women may miss a period. Irregular vaginal bleeding or spotting may happen while you're taking Balcultra, especially during the first few months of use. This usually is not a serious problem. If the irregular vaginal bleeding or spotting continues or happens again after you have had regular menstrual cycles, call your healthcare provider. It's important to continue taking your pills on a regular scheduled basis to prevent a pregnancy. So that's what the package say. You want to know more? Contact the FDA or your doctor. Okay, show of hands. How many of us have actually contacted the FDA to see the complete list of side effects that comes from birth control? Tell me in the comments. So now I'm going to share what I did. Here's what I did. I made a vow to myself that I would study birth control and its natural forms. I made a vow to myself that I would never put not one of these damn pills in my body again. I made a vow to myself that I loved myself enough not to end up on somebody's hospital bed, not to end up in the grave. I vowed to do better by myself, and I have done better by myself. I did lots of research on how to do natural birth control, if you will. I came across Natural Cycles, and I'll leave the Natural Cycles link down below and everything like that. So what this is basal body temperature. Now, anytime I mention this to someone who is older than me, or even some people who are younger than me, they always say, I don't know if you should do that. I don't know if that's 100%. Okay, and that's fine. That's fine. And it's not 100%, but also neither are any of these pills. Neither are any of these pills. I'll tell you something. My husband is here today because he beat the statistic, okay? He beat the birth control. Okay, there's a lot of birth control babies out here. Let's start there. Nothing's 100%. Nothing's 100%. My dad always used to say, well, but you can get close. Yeah, you can get close. That don't mean it's 100%. I know a lot of birth control babies. Ask around. You might know one too. Anyway, I came across Natural Cycles. It measures your basal body temperature. You put your personal information in, like, are you having headaches right now? Are you breaking out right now? Is your skin oily right now? What does your discharge look like? You are going to have to do a lot of research on your own human anatomy, body, what discharge is supposed to be like when you're ovulating, what discharge is supposed to be like when you're on your period, you're gonna have to do a lot of research on the different phases of a cycle and things of that nature, and what your body temperature should be looking like during different phases of your cycle and things like that. But you should do that anyway. It's knowing yourself, understanding your body. Okay, my discharge is doing this, I feel like this, and it's taking your basal temperature and understanding how to track your basal temperature. Now, the Natural Cycles app does the basal temperature thing for you. And you also take LH tests, which are ovulation tests. And if those come back positive and you're not trying to become pregnant, obviously don't have unprotected sex while your LH tests are positive or while you're ovulating. So it's about knowing your body and starting to understand your body, which I feel like the contraception has taken us so far away from. It's always best to know your body first and understand your body first. And that is a gift that this whole experience has given me, is understanding my ups and downs and ebbs and flows of my body, and when my progesterone is higher and when my estrogen is higher, and when they're like this and when they start moving. And it's something that I've had to learn, because sometimes if my estrogen or progesterone, and like sometimes I can't drink too much coffee at certain parts of my cycle because I'll get anxiety. But and it's like you have to learn that. Your basal temperature is basically your temperature when you are first in your most rested state, your most rested mode. So with the Natural Cycles app, when I first got it, they sent me a thermometer and I got my login to the app and everything. And you would take your temperature in the morning before you move. Like before you even move at all, you put that thermometer in there. Boop. You master, your timing, taking your basal temperature, because some people don't want to pay all that. and they want to do, and they do it themselves, and they study and they learn how to do their basal temperature chart and everything on their own, and they can do it on their own, and that's fine. I'm not that savvy. The thing that I like about the Natural Cycles app, and this is not promotion at all, child, this is me being dead serious with y'all because I want the best for you. So with the app, you log in all your temperatures, and it makes a calendar algorithm, and it tells you, okay, green days, you can have unprotected sex. Go ahead, get it, girl. And then they're like, okay, all these days are red. Don't have unprotected sex. You can have sex. Use a condom. Use some sort of protection. So in the beginning, you'll have less green days and you'll have more red days. The longer you go, the more green days you get. I'm to the point where I have majority of green days throughout my month. And my ovulation, the algorithm has really, it's really been on point. Like my period starts exactly when they say my period starts. And that makes me feel good because I know it's tracking my ovulation correctly. And your basal temperature always rises a little bit when you're ovulating, I believe. And then it goes back down. So it'll tell you, like, based on your basal temperatures for this week, we believe you ovulated on this day, or you ovulated within this window. So with that being said, all these days are green, all these days are red. For me, it has been working. I think we have to be a year in. So I started using Natural Cycles in 2022. That sounds accurate. And this is 2023. So I'm over a year in. I'm going on 2 years on Natural Cycles. And a lot of women, there's women who've been on Natural Cycles doing this for a long time and have never gotten pregnant. And it's literally just know yourself, know your body, put the temperatures in, stay consistent, don't get pregnant. And it's not 100%, but let me tell you, FDA has looked over Natural Cycles, and FDA has approved it as a form of contraception. It is 93% effective, which is just as effective as your birth control pill. So this particular app, if you're worried about effectiveness level, it is just as effective as your pill. I started off with a thermometer, and this is before they got the rings. I believe they did a deal with a ring company called Aura. Now we have these rings. So when I got the ring, I got 40% off through Natural Cycles, and I think that they're still offering that. And it's almost time for a new ring for me. But honestly, the ring does seem pricey. Like when I first looked at it, it seemed pricey. But the payback for having this ring is priceless. It is priceless. My mental sanity, my health, my mental clarity is priceless. We went from this to this. Okay. We went from this to this. All right. Okay. So I no longer have to use a thermometer and remember my thermometer. I've been doing this. So this little guy, if you can see on the inside, has all these tracking mechanisms on the inside, and what all these do is they record your basal temperature. They record your temperature all night, and you know what? They can even record your temperature for multiple nights, and it saves in there. So if you forgot to sync your ring in the morning for like 2-3 days, when you sync your ring on that 4th day, it'll be like, oh, you have 3 days worth of algorithm information. We're going to put it in, and then I'll tell you, granted, it'll change your chart, but we're going to put it in. But it's important to remember to sync your ring in the morning. Sometimes I forget. But this right here has really changed the game for me because, like I said, I'm not good at remembering things, which is why the pill was not the best option for me in the beginning. We have been going strong with this little guy, like to the point where sometimes, like, I'm not even worried. So what they tell you is, like, the best way to make sure you don't get pregnant on a red day when you're ovulating is just to not have sex. And sometimes we do that, but sometimes we don't. and we still here. You know what I'm saying? So you put this ring on at night. It records your temperature and everything all night. And you also you have your Aura subscription, which I think you have to have, which is cool because you can get a lot out of your Aura subscription. You know, your workouts, it records your workouts. It records, this little ring does so much stuff. So really with the Aura subscription, you do get a lot out of it. The ring costs me about, I don't know, just close to $300, maybe $350-ish. But oh my gosh, y'all, I'm not even gonna lie, it's so worth it. I would do it again. I would do it again in a heartbeat. I have grown so much from this experience, but I even get emotional talking about this. I am myself again. I'm happy again. I am brighter again. I have energy and want to do things again. Here's a great example. The last 2 periods I had have surprised me. They have surprised me. And it is bittersweet because, getting a period surprise is oh, shoot. I'm glad I wasn't out at the store or in the gym or something, that would have been embarrassing. And even though I watch my app, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't watch my app. Because when I get my calendar for the month, I throw it up on the calendar we have in the kitchen. So sometimes I watch my app, when my basal temperatures change and everything, but I know what my month's outlook is. So I look at my calendar in the kitchen. But the last 2, they popped up on me, and I was really brought to tears when this one came. To not know that your period is coming, it's such a blessing in disguise, because you don't even realize how now that I'm not on birth control and I'm going throughout my everyday life, I'm working out, I'm eating better and things like that. Before, when I was in high school, I could feel the cramps coming. So I'm oh, period, the cramps are coming. But in high school, you're eating junk food. You're not even taking care of yourself. You don't even know your body like that. You don't know when to cut out sugars and you don't know any of that. So I knew when my period was coming because I felt the cramps. And during the PMDD stage, 18 days before my period was the worst 18 days of my life. 14 days was the worst 14 days of my life. So I knew my period was coming. So it's for a period to just pop up on me, and I have full energy, I'm full happy, my house is taken care of, the garden is taken care of, me and my husband are laughing and we're enjoying our day. I have energy to drill stuff and saw things so that my daughter can have a nice new big girl bedroom, and then boom, my period's there. I had no idea. No cramps, no mood swings, no face swelling, no sweats, no body odor, no depression, no anxiety, no hallucinations. Just literally oh, my period's here. Wow. Okay. It has never been this simple before, And so I would trade it. I would do it again. I would buy the ring again. I might buy, I honestly am going to buy another one probably soon, because this one I've had for a while. She's still good though, but if she gets a little more scratched up, I'm gonna get another one. It has been such a pleasure and honor to get to know myself better. And some women who experience PMDD will tell you, don't get off birth control. It will get worse. And I'm not even gonna lie, when I did stop, it did get worse. And I think when I stopped the birth control, it got worse because my body became dependent on it. I didn't need it, but it needed it. It wasn't good for me, and it made me feel terrible, but my body was adapted to it. So when I got rid of it, things started freaking happening, acne, body odor, it was crazy, hair growth all over, and a lot of women, they hop right back on the pill because when they got off, crazy started happening and they hate it. And what I would say to those women is, if you get off and things feel like they're getting worse, stick it out a little longer. Stick it out just like a little longer. See what happens. Because really, your body is reacting to this much change. And there has already been enough change. You're having all these chemical responses. Your body is needing to purge these things. It's needing to understand what is happening, why all of this is happening. And also any doctor that tells you that irregular periods are not a big deal, get a new doctor. Sorry, side note, I don't even know where that came from. But like, yeah, your periods are irregular. Like, you're stinking, you're sweating, you got 3 unibrows and 2 armpits and 3 elbows and you always have 2 armpits. All I'm saying is, it's crazy for a little bit, but honestly, like any of the groups and chats that I'm in surrounding PMDD, I give my honest opinion. I stopped the birth control. I stopped it cold turkey. And the reason I'm so happy and ecstatic to be feeling this way is because it's almost been 2 years since my first depot shot. And I remember, and I was literally still having hormonal issues. I'm still having them now, if we're being honest. But not too long ago, I was having hormonal issues. I went to the doctor, and she tried to put me back on the pill. And she told me that would regulate my hormones, but then she also told me there was nothing wrong with my hormones. And then she reminded me, Depot can stay in your system for up to 2 years. 1 shot can stay in your system for up to 2 years. I had multiple shots. So the reason why I'm so happy is because I'm at that 2-year point where I might not have to worry about that anymore. Even now, like, I get caught up in a couple things, but as I'm approaching that 2-year anniversary of when I went cold turkey, oh my gosh, I feel free. I feel so free. Like 2-3 periods of just no PMS. Like, I didn't even have PMS this time. Like, a couple times my husband got on my nerves, but husbands get on your nerves. Okay, child, that's what they do. They do that. But no PMS. No PMS. I was like, no PMS? Like, I have a couple things here and there. Like, I am prone to cysts before my period. So a couple times I've had, like, really wild cysts and really painful cysts. And not uterine cysts, but on my body. Armpit cysts, things like that. And they flare up closer to my period. And so now it's like, okay, I get cysts, I get acne when my period is near. This is, if you can see my skin, this is like as bad as it is right now. And then I got a little bit up there. And my period started yesterday. And like, once I get like a few days into my period, it clears up. And that's literally normal cycle behavior. Your skin gets really oily. And that's what happens for me. I can always tell when I'm ovulating now. And then my skin starts to get really oily. And then I get a couple pimples. I get my period. It clears up. And that's the way it goes. And I'm fine with that, you know? But those things, like, it used to be everything was enraged. You know what I'm saying? When I first started going cold turkey, like, these pimples would have been huge, humongous, or the whole forehead before has just been, you know what I mean? But now I just get small little things. They go away. That's that. My skin's clear again. I took that route of leaving it alone and finding a more natural route, finding a way that is not controversial for my body, finding a way that works for me, works for my schedule, works for my love life, works for my family. I've been happy. The intrusive thoughts, gone. And I remember when they started going away. And I remember the day when I went a whole day without one. And I'm telling you, night and day. Intrusive thoughts, gone. Anxiety's still here, but I had that before I started any of this. But like literally so many of the symptoms, gone. And that's what a lot of women don't realize, is sometimes it takes longer for these things to leave your system than they tell you. They even tell you once you get off the pill that it's out of your system in a couple of days, and that's why you can get pregnant again. While yes, you can get pregnant again, the lasting effects of the imbalance that you have created within your body is not going to be gone in a couple of days. You're not going to have a regular period. Your periods are probably going to be irregular. Regulating my period, finding peace within that, and being able to be on the other side of the spectrum now and look back on myself. I look at pictures of myself, I don't even recognize myself in those pictures. My eyes are dead to the world in some of those pictures. But I needed to make family memories. I needed pictures with my daughter and my husband, and I needed to do those things to feel a semblance of whole and of myself. And the craziest part is it all cracked off. Yup, you know what? It all cracked off, like really when I hit that wall, was right like the day after my birthday. Me and my husband went to like a hot tub thing, like a hot tub room for my birthday. And the day after my birthday, I had the first mental breakdown. And my birthday is January. And I think this was 2022. Yep. The day after my birthday, 2022, is when I hit that first mental wall. So that was by that time I had like my second shot. That's when I hit that first wall. And looking back on the me now versus the me like just weeks and days after my birthday in 2022, like I'm an entirely different person. I'm a completely different person. I'm happy. I have found life more fulfilling. I urge women to consider all options. I know right now they just came out with zuranolone, which is like that new postpartum pill that they came out with, and you take it once a day for 14 days, and it's a depression it's an anti-depression medication, but it's supposed to work within 3 days. Ladies, if birth control has taught us nothing, it is that sometimes they tell us to take these things and they have worse effects than we know. Something with us as people, as human beings, is we like a quick fix. You don't want to have a baby? Pop this pill. We won't even tell you what's in there. Go ahead and pop this. Okay, now you want to have a baby. Come off the pill. Oh, you're off the pill? Oh, you might have PCOS now. Oh, you might have fibroids. I don't know. You can have a baby. And then they're like, okay, you can have a baby. You have a baby? You have postpartum? Take this pill. Oh, also, take birth control. Oh, you know what I mean? But did you take birth control? Because the birth control could have caused it, but we don't want to tell you that. So we'll just tell you have postpartum. So my number one message to ladies is educate yourself. Educate yourself. Educate yourself on yourself. Know yourself really, truly down to your anatomy. I am so blessed and so happy that I have come to a point where I feel like I've come out on the other side of this, because I was not myself. Please educate yourself. If you're going through postpartum depression or PMDD, make sure that you look at all your options, because you could think you have PMDD and you have postpartum depression, or you think you have postpartum depression and a doctor diagnosed you with it and told you had it, but really have PMDD. So look into all the options. It's never too late. Like, I've read stories of women in some of the chats who are a little bit older who are suffering from PMDD, but they don't want to get off their birth control because they feel like it's too late. They're already at this particular age and they just want to ride it out until menopause. But the thing is, if you can't get that in check before menopause, your menopause is not going to be like, your menopause is another hormonal shift. It's another hormonal shift. It's not just like, oh, I'm older now, like period's done. Period's done because hormones are changing. So educate yourself as best as you can on your own hormones. Like get as many hormone tests as you can and look them over yourself. You know, have a doctor explain them to you, but also look them over yourself. A lot of women have had to have their thyroids checked because something in there was off. Know yourself down to your anatomy. Do your best to educate yourself on yourself down to your anatomy. Do your research on some of the side effects of some of these hormonal contraceptions, and really look at, don't just look at the good, but also look at the bad, because a lot of us are going through bad. I just helped out a client of mine with their hair, with their son's hair, that she let me know that her daughter had just been hospitalized that weekend. Her daughter is a young girl, high school level girl, and was on the pill, I believe. She had some hip pain. They went to go see a doctor to look at her bones and everything. They said, well, we're not exactly sure what it is, but take her to a massage therapist. They took her to a massage therapist. They massaged it and everything. They thought it would be fine, and it was not. By the time they got to the hospital, she had a golf ball size blood clot in her hip. They told her that this blood clot was caused by oral contraception. It was caused by her birth control. I even know someone who is a very close friend of my family's. After me explaining my original struggle with birth control and things like that, she even came out and told me, like, look, I had a blood clot. So I've known 2 or 3 people who have had blood clots due to birth control. And so even though it's not talked about as much, it's because it's taboo right now. It's because birth control it's making money, okay? It's making coins. These people that are making these things are making bank. Do you hear me? And these are large corporations. And if you look, they are throwing birth control out like candy. Do you hear me? You could have a medical condition and then they're like, take the birth control because it'll help it. It'll help it. And listen, I'm not telling you not to, because in some cases, if you have certain cysts and things like that, and it becomes very painful and things of that nature during ovulation, then some women will take birth control to stop ovulation so that they can stop the pain. I hear ya. I see you. I understand you, and I feel your plight in this. There are lots of holistic options, and when I say holistic, people get like very like cringy, like natural medicine. But what people don't understand is our pills come from natural medicine. Pills aren't just made from... There are even some things in the world, some of these natural holistic medicine things that grow right out of the ground, that they make illegal for you to even pick, because they gonna pick it and they gonna sell it to you. There are methods out there that have been shown to help women with these issues. I'm not going to advocate to anyone say that if you truly in your heart feel like birth control is something that you need to do, that you're wrong. Do whatever you want. It's your body, it's your temple, and I respect you. And whatever you would like to do with your temple, I respect, because it doesn't affect my temple. I just want to leave people informed. And some of the things that I've said are some things that I haven't even seen in other videos. And so I want to be that video. So inform yourself on yourself as much as you can. Open yourself up to possibilities. Look into holistic things. I ended up having to drink a lot of tea, a lot of I didn't do too much ashwagandha. I ended up having to do a lot of teas, a lot of women's health teas, a lot of St. John's wort, a lot of I ended up doing a lot of different herbal remedies, and I would drink this tea every morning. I would throw my herbs in it, all of my ginseng, all of my herbs for energy, and all of my herbs for hormone balancing and battling hormone imbalances. I would throw it all in one big old tea, or I would make, more than one so I don't have too many herbs in one pot. But I would drink this tea faithfully every day. And it took a while, but my hormones started balancing. And this was after it took a long time of researching and asking, like, what teas are good for this, what roots is good for this, what plant leaf is good for this, what is good for this. Sometimes I would throw the herbs in some water and just leave it in the fridge, and it would make a cold brew, and I would drink that throughout the day. You know what I'm saying? If I want to drink a bottle of water, I might as well throw these healing herbs in it and drink that. Trying herbal remedies or trying other ways to solve situations, there's no harm done. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You ain't did no harm. But if it works, it's a game changer. And that's how I see it, and that's how I saw it, and that's how I am where I am. And I'm very thankful for where I am. I know that there's still work to be done. And my husband tells me, he's like, man, I see the change. You have changed, girl. And I'm happy. I'm really happy that I'm in this place now. I have been through the ringer and then some and then some. And you probably will too. And you probably are too. And if you're watching this, you're probably going through it. I just want you to educate yourself before taking oral contraceptions, hormonal contraceptions. I want you to educate yourself before tampering with your body in that way and tampering with your natural cycle, your natural flow, the way your body wants to run. Before tampering with that, I want people to be informed on a few things. Basal temperature, herbs, different cycle phases, what your discharge should be like, what your skin's gonna do. I just want you to be informed. That's all it is. I just want you to be informed. And exercise, y'all. I'm working on that my dang self. Exercise and find ways to bring yourself to center. Child, when I started the yoga, I needed it. And I started it during really hard PMDD times. I started doing yoga and it changed. It was a game changer as well. Anyway, y'all, I'm about to be out, but wanted to share that information with y'all, and I hope that this video helps someone the way that so many videos have helped me. I will put some of the information that I stated in the description, and I will put timestamps in the description and all that good stuff. My daughter just woke up, my baby girl. And I love y'all. I really do. I really mean that from my, and if y'all can't see that I meant that from my heart, I meant that from my heart. I love y'all. I love us. I love what women are capable of. And I want to see us be strong and be great and steadfast in our, you know what I'm saying? So, ladies, take care of yourselves, okay? Be the best you that you can be, but you can't be the best you if you're not taking care of yourself, okay? All right, y'all, I'm gonna sign off. Be great. Have a great day today, whatever day this is you're watching this. Have a great night. Sleep well if it's nighttime. And I will see y'all next time. All right? Peace, y'all.